pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we go to public comment, I just want to say thank you all for accommodating us tonight and coming here. We had a police meeting earlier. It was just easier for everyone to stay here and have everyone come here instead of there after the snowstorm last week. So thank you very much. Second thing is we have people here who don't normally come to our meetings. I just want to point out that on the back of the agenda is our policy for public meetings. And it lays out what we expect from the audience and what you should expect from us. So just as a comment. All right, public comments on the agenda items from the audience. Are there any? Seeing none, we'll move on. Announcements, we did reschedule the March 21st meeting till tonight because of the snowstorm. We will have an executive session following this meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I have an announcement. One announcement too I'd like to make.
Okay.
I'd like to apologize to you and your family if I've offended you in any way with comments or gestures I made at last month's meeting. They were not intended the way they may have been received. So I wanted to apologize to you publicly, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Consent agenda. The consent agenda for tonight includes the February 21st minutes, the Planning Commission report. There was no Planning Commission meeting this month, so the Planning Commission meeting was added to the consent agenda. The wind plan review status and authorization vouchers, the emergency services report, the building zoning and building permit report, and the public works report. Are you gentlemen okay with what's in the consent agenda?
I'm
Okay.
fine, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve that. Okay?
I'll second it.
Okay,
Yep.
all in favor?
All right.
Okay, thank you. We have no confirmed appointments tonight, so we'll move on to committee reports. Mr. Strobel, Park and Rec.
Number one.
Right on top.
You're right on top.
Okay, the Park and Rec will be having our fishing derby on Saturday, the 21st, from 9 to 12. And I think we're going to be ready for a good year. We have all the hot dogs ready for you, free, soda, donuts, the whole bit. No, I'm sorry with the soda. We don't have soda anymore. That's sugar. We don't try to offer that. But otherwise, it'll be a good year.
We're almost to our goal for funds for the fish, and we order the same amount of fish as what we had last year.
Which
So,
was, can you recall the number?
I think it was 413
Yeah.
14s, and then we had 15 or 20 of the 20, 18
Big
to
ones,
20
yeah.
inches, and then there was the three monsters that were over 24 for the kid, and hopefully the kids will catch them.
Catch 'em.
Going a week sooner will help us with the water temperature being cooler, which is, I think, what we need to accomplish.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big trout. You know, if you can see a kid catching a trout 24 inches long,
Pull the kid in.
yeah, that's a big fish.
Yeah.
The fishing derby looks good. Robbie Fisher is a member who's come before our committee and wants to join us, and we have, given him the fine okay. He's got a good background. He's 22, 21 years old.
So how's he joining? I mean, you don't have an opening.
So we don't have an opening.
So he's going to join as the associate?
Associate,
Okay.
or like a sub-member, we call
Yeah,
it.
I just wanted to,
Yeah.
just wanted you to
So-
say that.
So we need your approval to have him.
And he lives on
Listing.
Holiday House Road.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
aware.
close by.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a good
You
choice.
got a motion by Don?
And I would second that.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah, he seemed like he'll be a great asset to the group. He's vocal and just out of college, or he's still going to college. He should be a good member of the
Okay,
group.
so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
We will at the fishing derby, we're gonna have a poster, we hope, listing ideas for our tot lot expansion. So we're hoping to have a poster showing some ideas. Right, Suzanne?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, of
For the
course,
kids to choose.
yeah, well, okay, right.
Sounds like a great idea, great timing.
Yeah, at the
Those are
fishing
people that-
derby.
Those are the people that actually really use it.
Right.
So we'll have a poster with different ideas, and then maybe we can keep count ask the kids to come up and say, would you like to have this idea or that, you know, and then give a check, and then maybe they'll give us, the parents will give us a check for the $20,000 for each item that goes with. They're expensive, big dollars
I
on
just
that.
want to add to that, I was over there today and looked, and the guys are doing a really good job. I know they've already dug out, they've got all the stone in, they were
Right.
putting up the barricade, the border around it
Yes.
today, so I think, I guess in 2 weeks, I think you're supposed to get all your mulch in, right? Something like that.
Something like that, we're hoping
It's 2
maybe,
weeks, yeah. So I think that's great, it really looks good.
it'd be nice to get it mostly finished by the time we have the fishing derby, right?
Yeah,
Be nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
And then they have the drainage ditch on the side that they put in, it's working. It's a good idea. And they have to expand that drainage and stuff. That's a pipe. Yeah, but the tot lot looks great. The free library, we had concepts, and it appears that we might have a scout interested. Judy found somebody?
I haven't heard back yet, but she was gonna review the preferred
Yeah.
design that you submitted.
Right, which is, I don't have it with me, but it would be, 3 feet across, about, 2 feet deep, and shouldn't be anything major, but if the scouts don't want to do it, I'm hoping to find somebody. As of now, the estimated cost of this structure would be about $400, and that includes a light, a solar panel light for, motion and the whole bit.
Yeah, nice.
So for 400,
Yeah.
and that's a reasonable cost. But that's the, alternative approach to it.
I'm sorry, Bob, should I tell the potential volunteer that we pay for the supplies?
I would think so.
Okay, I'll let her know that tomorrow.
Is that okay with the supervisor?
Well, absolutely, why don't we give
Okay.
them paper?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I just want to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
You good?
Part of the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
They have a budget.
next, the concession or the soda water station that's over the park, someone else has taken it over, and we've gotten in contact with them, and we're asking for some money or something. They came up with the idea, they're gonna give us 10 cases of water for Septemberfest as a gift, instead of money. So we'll have, 10 cases of water coming.
That's good.
So that'll save a few bucks. Otherwise, I think that's about what I'm talking about here. We had some other things go on, but nothing major.
Okay.
Okay.
That's about it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Bob.
Can I get a,
I'll make a motion, we accept Bob's report as presented.
Tom, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Good, thank you. Conservation Committee, Mr. Stringer, are you talking tonight?
Yes, I am. Good evening. One of the things the Conservation Committee works on is looking for land for parks and recreation. And our last meeting kind of leads into this, so I just wanted to identify quickly some of the parks. So I don't know if we're all aware of how much parkland we actually have in the township. But we use them for all sorts of things. We have the September Fest and the Fishing Derby at James Park. Use them for walking paths. A lot of people, I think, in their response to the questionnaire talk about walking paths. Exercising, we have a Get Fit with the doc program. And then a lot of playgrounds, basketball, volleyball, baseball fields. And some of the parks we have right now, we have the James Memorial Park, which is right across from the township building. The Moore Farm that's adjacent to the township building. The Hayfler Farm, which is right behind James Park, and it's actually attached to James Park with a walking path that goes through it. And then there's a Holiday House pool. And then a few other natural parklands include Manderfield Preserve, Sailor Wilderness Preserve, Zimba Preserve, Shaver Property, the recently purchased catch basin we talked about last week or last month, state game lands, which have quite a number of acres that are in our township, and then there's a lot of neighborhood parks created by developer contributions. And this kind of leads into some of our meeting discussions we had at the last meeting. We had our meeting on March 15th, which was just before this meeting, before it got moved. And in the minutes, The biggest thing we're looking at is, a lot of this parkland is what's called a fee simple purchase, which means the township purchases the land outright using the open space funds. And I think a lot of people don't realize, even though it's called open space, if it's a fee simple purchase, it can be resold by the township at any time. And currently, our Board of Supervisors are not in favor of that, but something could happen far down in the future. So we are working with the supervisors, and we developed a letter to go to the supervisors that will bring in what we call a third party, and that could be Natural Lands Trust or the Bucks County Conservancy or Heritage Conservancy. And their goal is basically to act as a third party to provide legal support in case anybody wants to break the open space and sell it. So they provide us with a third party that makes it very difficult for anyone to resell it. So we're thinking of all these parklands that we'd like to work on. And that is now, I believe, either going to the supervisors.
They have a copy of it in their packet.
They have a copy? Okay, so I don't know if you take it out tonight.
I want to just ask a question there, Michael, because
Sure.
I'm a little confused in it. The properties that you identified, a lot of them are open space purchase, but they're not classified as part of the park at this time. They're open space purchase properties.
Yes.
But the park that we have,
Is
is
a
the
condensed
James
area.
Memorial Park, and then will be the Moore across the street.
Yeah.
And our goal was to develop them out before we moved outside of that. I don't know, is it correct to label those others parks?
That would be up to the township. I think the important part is they want a second party or a third party to make sure that the township never turns around and sells the properties later on.
Yeah.
To make it more difficult. And there's different levels of third party. There's third party that's out at the Zimba who says what type of fence you can put up. Where another third party.
Well, that's another part that you gotta be careful on
That you just can't resell it.
how you go about that too.
Right, so most of our properties do. Conservation Committee listed as several that do not, and that's in your packet.
Okay.
The Schaefer, Rader, Hafler, Catch Basin, Moore.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'm trying to condense it, but you're right. There's a group of properties that are all around James Park that make up our central park. But then there's properties where the landowners offered them to us, and through the process, we've recommended them, and the supervisors approved purchase of them. So we have parkland, basically, if you want to call it that, or open space throughout the township.
We
And you
also
can,
have the Siler Preserve and the Zimmer Preserve
yes,
and Manfield. Those are all preserved, they're walking parks.
yes,
Well, they're not,
they're not,
games or anything,
yeah, they're not improved, as we call them, with, like James Park is, they're just natural. The second thing on our minutes, the Lichty Farm, there's a 36-acre Lichty Farm, and 8 of those acres were donated by Mark Lichty's parents, and they just asked that they be honored as donors of that 8-acre property, so we agreed to put it into the database, so it's mentioned there forever. The last one, the open space signs. We just ordered actually 5 signs, because you can get 5 for the price of whatever, it's cheaper by 5. And 2 of them are gonna go on the catch basin, which we just recently acquired. And then Wildman property has a broken sign that's gonna get replaced, and the other 2 will be in storage for the next properties that come up. Our minutes are always up on the website if you wanna look at them. And I just want to advertise, but we have this one with Open Space Park and Rec. This is a really good detailed book of how the township is planning for open space. It's online. You can probably go to the township and view it. If you want a copy, they're probably going to charge you for the copy costs, right? Am I correct? But it's online. If you ever want to read something, it's a good book. So that's my advertisement. And that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Move for approval.
Okay,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michael. Comprehensive Plan Committee, John.
Okay, the comprehensive plan, we continue. Meetings are the fourth Thursday of every month, and they're start at 7 o'clock. They're open to the public. We have a committee of 5 people plus a person from County Planning Commission that are working on redeveloping a comprehensive plan. And this month, we're going to be getting into some of the database corrections, third-party entries for simple purchases, that relates to what Mike talked about. And so it's the best to get a handle for is coming with it and get involved in discussions. We're in discussions of anything from zoning to types of trees to how many roads, et cetera. So you're all welcome to come and join. And it's a freewheeling discussion.
All right. Thank you, Don.
I'll make a motion, we approve the
And I'll second.
comprehensive plan.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Commission reports. Chief Blake.
You get a lectern here, this is my station. Just to let everybody know, that the police department here, you know, we have our meetings the fourth Wednesday of every month, so we had one just prior to this meeting. Please come, this is your police department. You know, we encourage input. If you would've came to the meeting, some of you were here, but if you would've came, you would've saw that we honored 5 students from Pennridge High School for their display during their Remembrance Day on March 14th for the shooting that took place in Parkland, Florida, Marjorie Stone Douglas High School. And we also honored another citizen for his actions during the storm of the century on that Friday, where everybody took hours to get home for his actions. And then Mr. Schmeyer had also mentioned that another citizen, Chad Davis, had helped out during that storm. So they don't last long, but you know, we really appreciate your input, and you know, please, this is your police department, use it. So anyway, that's my little thing. I'll read the police department report for February of 2018. They're always a month behind because we're in March and we list February calls. There were 328 calls for service. 188 of those were in West Rockhill Township, and the department handled 30 traffic crashes. 19 of those were in West Rockhill, 15 were reportable and 15 were non-reportable. There were 36 crimes, 3 Part 1 crimes and 32 Part 2 crimes. Crimes in West Rockhill are as follows: assault, false reports, which would be to a law enforcement officer; resisting arrest, which would be to a law enforcement officer; DUI, harassment, 4 disorderly conduct cases, 1 trespass violation, and 2 ordinance violations. And then there was crimes in East Rockhill. The criminal charges filed in February 2018 are as follows: 2 simple assault charges, 4 harassment charges, 1 possession of methamphetamines, 2 DUI charges, 3 possession of drug paraphernalia, 1 burglary charge, 1 possession of small amount of marijuana, and 1 retail theft. Officers conducted 217 traffic enforcement details, 22 details on Old Bethel Pike, issuing 16 verbal traffic warnings, 34 citations, and 49 written warnings. Officers conducted 257 business checks. Administratively, we met with assistant principals over at Pennridge High School for crime reporting, and Detective Lewis attended the Bucks County probation meeting. And just to let everybody know that on April 28th, 2018, there will be the drug take-back, which will be hosted here at Pennridge Regional Police Department from 10 to 2. Just to let everybody know that the drug take-back, we're almost to the point now in Bucks County where we surpassed every county in the state. We're on mark for doing that. In 2016, I know we do the drug take-back April and October here at the station, but it's available Monday through Friday during office hours, even after office hours. Just come to the phone if no one's here at the station, pick up your phone, call an officer back. I met with Matt Weintraub today and talked with him. He's our district attorney. And, you know, I even know that some residents are not mobile. They can call the police department and we'll go to their residence and, you know, pick up unused medication. We drop them in the drop box. You don't need to take labels off. Just drop it in there, and twice a year Bucks County detectives then transport them and dispose of them. But anyway, back in 2016, at one of those Dropbox site locations in April, the county, we took in enough prescription and unwanted medication that outpaced the whole state of Delaware, and that's just in Bucks County. So Bucks County is leading the charge of that, and we're hoping other counties in the state jump on board. I mean, we outpace Philadelphia County, Montgomery County all the time, and that's because we have a lot of volunteers. A lot of volunteers pushing it, putting flyers in bags at supermarkets. All the pharmacists are on board with it. Ray Fox from Healthy Communities and Healthy Youth from Quakertown is a strong proponent of it, and he's out there and pushing it. So, we don't want the unwanted prescriptions. Certainly, we don't want the youth to get a hold of those, and we don't want them to go back into the environment. Because the old thing was, you just flush it out the toilet. I mean, we just can't have that anymore. And more importantly, the youth, we just don't want them to get their hands on that. So.
Todd, would it be appropriate to, you said about leave the labels on them for everybody to understand that there's sufficient security there to protect them so they don't have to take the labels off. Besides, it helps the people to sort out the different kinds of medications when they get them. They don't have the labels on them, they don't know.
Right, but here, they just, when they collect them, they don't even look at it. It's all kind of put together and they dispose of them all collectively. And it's as simple as taking it, we have a mail slot here and open it up, put it in and go. People, every day, people are coming in, using it. So it's just one of the things that, let's go by here.
Thank you. Any questions for the chief? Yes.
It's not just prescription, though, it could be over-the-counter stuff that's out there,
Correct,
right?
it can be over the counter. We just asked that they don't put Sharpies in there, syringes, but we do have a thing here that you can, if you want to dispose of Sharpies, we do dispose of them in our prison area, but, we'll take them from you too. Because we just don't want, anybody young to get a hold of them, and, we don't want to be accidentally poked by them, so, we prefer to keep them here. But yes, over-the-counter meds, anything. I even have people bringing their dog meds. Their dog passed away, and, they have these meds there, but I don't want to flush them, and can't take them for human consumption, so, they're here.
All right, I also want to mention that in your meeting, you announced that you're joining the JOP program, so if you'd like to just mention something about that.
I am entering the drop. That's just kind of like a thing with our pension here. So you give notice of that, and you can't be employed for 3 years, up to 3 years. I can't stay past 3 years. So that'll be effective May 7th, or May 8th, 2018, and that'll go till May 8th, 2021. I don't plan on leaving. There's a lot of work to do. But in May of 2021, I'll have 33 years of law enforcement in. So it's time to move on, do something else. I love it here, believe me. The commission, the supervisors, they're great. I started my police career in West Rockhill Township in 1988. I walked through those doors in West Rockhill, and when I was 19 years old, and at the time Fred Crean was the chief of police there, maybe some of you might know him. But he said to me, how old are you? And I go, I'm 19. He goes, when do you turn 20? I said, I turn 20 next week. He goes, stop by then. So, okay, I stopped by, and typical Fred Crean style is, what are you doing here? I'm like, you told me to stop by. And he goes, okay, I'll give you a try. And the rest is history. He give me a try, you know what I mean? But, it's a great community. I would not want to police anywhere else. I grew up here. My wife went to Pennridge High School. My kids go to high school here. I have 2 kids in college. It's been great. And the community really, it's changed, but it's kind of stayed the same, It's one of these communities where I drive down the road and, if something's out of place, you kind of know it because you've been here for, May will start my 30th year or so. But it's been great, so, but I still have a lot to do.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Motion to.
I'll make a motion, we accept the chief's report.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Joint Rec Commission, we're getting ready for summer. We've got the new sound system and lighting is in the process of being put in. Thank you. My PC just died on me.
No problem. Right there.
Yeah, there it is, right there. Thank you.
Yep.
The lights in the parking lot are complete. It looks like a stadium over there now. It's bright lights. We took out 8 lights that were 1,000 watts each, and we put in 8 LEDs that were 150 watts each. So we went from 8,000 down to less than 1,000
Great,
watts.
good job.
Yeah, and that's 12 hours a day worth of running lights, so.
Money in the pocket.
Yeah, and now I know the interior lights are all completed, and they're waiting for the ground to harden up a little bit so they can do all the lighting and the sound system inside the pool area, because they take their trucks in there, they're gonna drop down about this far right now.
Right.
So anyhow, so that's really where we are. Suzanne, you didn't have anything else to add to that, did you? I mean, we're just working right now. She's had community service people coming in, and they've been doing a fantastic job. Got all the benches pulled apart, getting ready to repaint them, so, yeah, so, that's it. That's my whole report. Yeah.
Very good, thanks. I'll make a motion, we accept your report as presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Tax collector. Suzanne
Okay,
Farr.
month of March. Annual taxes, I've collected $68,995.82. 2017 interims, $13.81, and our street leg tax of $582.66 for the month of March. Right on schedule.
Great,
Great.
thank you. Any questions?
I have none.
Okay, I'll make a motion, or
Approval.
make a motion.
I'll second.
Oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Thank you. Engineering report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apparently don't have anything to report on this agenda, so if there's any
Oh,
questions.
I have no questions. Any other questions?
Nope, I have
Okay,
none.
motion approved.
I'll make it.
All right, and second?
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Solicitors report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only thing that's on the solicitor's report is, I know there's been a discussion about a fireworks ordinance. So what you have is a draft, which Mary put together. I'm obviously not Mary Everly. It's consistent with the state act, which was amended, I think, in the fall, October, November. There was a new state fireworks act. So it's just before the board for some discussion. You want to move forward with it. It places the use in 3 different zoning districts. In the PC2 zoning district, in the PI zoning district, and the PC zoning district that fronts on County Line Road. So they're the 3 areas that are in here. It's really up to the board what you want to do with it.
Now, I would like us to have a chance to talk about it, because it is still in a draft form, and I think there may be some changes that we may want to make along the way, but I appreciate the fact that Mary got us the draft about a week ago, wasn't it? A week and a half ago. So, yeah, the 3 of us really need to sit down and discuss it and then bring it to the public.
So I will be tabled for this
Yeah,
session.
yeah, that,
I'll accept that.
all right, great, okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's it for right now, right?
That's
Yeah.
all I have.
All right, motion to approve the solicitor's report.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Township managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll go over the treasurer's report ending February 28, 2018. The general fund, $363,078.28. Highway aid, $70,560.72. Open space, $945,465.86. The park fund, $13,989.27. The equipment fund, $103.43. Highway capital, $124.91. Street light, $30,430.26. The reserve fund, general fund reserve, $322,880.32. Open space Manderfield, $50,599. Sewage maintenance fund, $168,101.36. Stormwater fund, $5,588.90. And the escrow fund is $469,258.56. You also have a copy of the
Okay,
I reviewed, I put forth a motion for approval, all subject to audit for, as well as paying the bills.
Okay, I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The line striping draft policy.
Yes, in your packets, there's a draft policy for the Board of Supervisors. I'll briefly go over it. In general, the recommendation width of cartway for centerline striping is 20 feet, minimum width is 16 feet. Edge lines are not recommended to be installed on cartways less than 20 feet wide or on lower volume streets. What we recommend is township minor collector streets, as identified in the SADA, such as Old Bethlehem Pike, Detweiler Road, Lawn, Farmers, Clymer Avenue, between Detweiler Road and the borough line, that they should be done. Also, in addition to the local access, maybe Forest, Thousand Acre, Gold Mine, Quarry, Camp Rockhill, and Shoecraft.
I will share with you, Forest Road used to have a stripe down the middle of it years ago. It got erased when we tarred chip and went over it. I don't know how many years ago that's been, but it's been a while.
Right. And what the policy states is whenever we repave or oil and chip, that's when we would put the line striping on.
Yeah.
So that will be built into the cost of doing the tar and chip and
Or paving.
Whatever you do
or
on that
paving,
road.
whatever we're doing, right?
Whenever you're doing that road.
I think that's smart.
So what's the projection of what the cost would be?
Well, the projection for Thousand Acre was $3,600 or $3,200.
What's the length of it?
What's the length of Thousand Acre?
1.5 miles.
Yeah, approximately. So it's gonna add
What's the longevity?
2 to 4 years, depending on where.
You'll probably get more out of that on Thousand Acre, because I don't think it sees the traffic that you would get on Forest or Lawn Avenue.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, we're always out doing Lawn Avenue at the traffic lights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's all the way.
heavy traffic there.
Yeah.
But this is a draft policy for you
Yeah.
guys to consider.
I think we should look at it, but I do think that we need to make a decision sometime soon.
I agree. I mean, I've reviewed this, I think it's general enough that I'm, we still have some leeway if we want to work some things, but I like what's out there.
It's not a negligible cost, but when it's compared to the paving costs, it won't be a major increase to
Right.
what your budgets are for your paving budget.
I suggest we table it again for next month and make a decision then.
Okay,
All right, I'm okay with that.
all right.
But we will make a decision next month, and we will forward with that.
I think we need to, so start paving.
Yeah,
Hopefully soon.
yeah, I agree. All right, okay, thank you.
All right, the next item is the Gavin subdivision and road improvements. The township engineer and I met out with the developer out at the site. We talked about improvements to Bardsley Road. In your packets are the two proposals. One is the proposal of work that the township would like to see, and the other one is the developer, what the developer recommended. They're two vastly different projections. The one what the township wanted to do was work to be completed along a 600-foot section of Bardsley Road, cut down 45 trees and grind down the stumps, excavate the swale, side at a 2-to-1 slope, install geotextiles C-125 on the side of the slope and grassy. Their proposal was two was work to be completed along 600 section of swale road, install geotextile number 3 at the bottom of the existing swale, and install R4 river.
I don't like that. I'll tell you why. That riprap, when that gets leaves and stuff and debris in it, after decay after a few years, then the water doesn't run through it anymore. It's actually proven. I've seen it so many times. So that, I don't think that's a good
Well,
option. Go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, but there will be riprap, some degree of riprap on either option.
I understand that.
The second option, though, doesn't cut back the bank and move the swale away from the edge of the road where we've had the
That's the problem.
erosion problem.
That's one of the biggest problems there, and I thank you for clarifying that. But I do see that. I was out there, of course, with Mr. Fox. There you are. And that is a huge problem. All that water is coming off of that property down there. And
For
you
the
know,
most part, yes.
we have to try to make something happen so that this is controlled, because otherwise,
Because it's domed.
yeah, it has to be cut back, tapered back, that bank there. So, I know it's a lot of money, but, you know, you're developing a piece of property here, I think you,
It'll be a lot of money for them, or a lot more for us later.
correct. Because the road's not gonna hold up, for sure, and if the ditch gets clogged up with debris again and stuff, see, that'll help too by cutting back some of those trees there. It won't eliminate it all, because it is woods. But, you know, with the joint effort of it being done the right way, and I think the township making sure that we continue to monitor that ditch with cleaning it out yearly, we might be able to get a handle on that situation.
How big are the trees they're taking out, Greg? Do they have to take them down, or just the ones along the road to take?
Some of the roots are showing.
Yeah, they're mature trees,
Yeah.
but they're right on the bank. To do any work to move that swale away from the road,
You have to
would
take them.
have, you would have to take the trees. There's sort of a row of trees in between the swale and the utility line that runs through there.
There aren't any back in the center part of the property.
It's all woods back there, but there's nothing that we would need to be removed.
Okay?
You got a hand?
I think
Yes.
there's some representatives here.
Yes, go right.
My name is Jeff Horrocks, representative of McGann's who own the property. They would like to be heard. What is proposed is really impacting them, and they would like.
Sorry, sir, can you spell your last name?
HORROCKS. I'm at 183 Morewood Road, Telford, Nottingham Township. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Ed McGann, 1422 Ridge Road, Somerville. I wanted to make a few comments about, first of all, we moved into this property. My wife's mother passed away. Ignatius and Mary McKenna. They had the property since about 1957, so it's been in our family for 60 years. When we came in 10 years ago, we did our best to restore that barn. We put a new roof on it because it was collapsing. We could have just demolished it and then taken away the rural aspect of the township. We decided to pour money into it to stabilize it and keep it up. It dates back to 1850. We have been searching for a buyer who would want to purchase around 25 acres and maintain it under Act 319 as a forest reserve. So it took us 8 years to find a buyer. It was Tim and Cheryl Waite who were intending to buy it and keep it as a forest reserve. And he actually is going to put money into it, make it more presentable under the Act 319 Forest Reserve. The Bardsey Road is a dead-end road. It's got only 4 houses on it, so it serves 4 residents. It probably gets, you know, how much traffic goes on that road. When you look at the road, however it was paved, I don't see any kind of embankment on the north side of the road to help the water runoff into the ditch. So actually the asphalt is starting to break away because there's nothing supporting it. I don't know what was done when it was paved, unless it just was paved and that was it and left it alone. So that's breaking away. We are now asked to spend nearly $65,000, which is about 30% of our selling price. So that's a very, it's a hardship on us to spend $65,000 to improve a road. In fact, one of the members of the Planning Township Commission made a remark that it should not, would not like to see it exceed $20,000. So we have a proposal from Tom Gavin to spend a little over $12,000, which would put the rocks in a ditch, and I also can see us removing maybe 4 or 5 trees are actually in the ditch. So we're willing to go with a small amount, but putting a repair cost of a road with 4 houses sit on us, $65,000 is pretty, it's kind of unreasonable. So I would like the Board of Supervisors to reconsider the township's proposal. And my wife Debbie would like to make comments.
I'm Debbie McGann, I'm Ed's wife. I also reside at 1422 Ridge Road. I have strong ties to West Rockhill Township in that I was born in 1957 and I lived at the current property until I married him for 30 years. My mom and dad, Mary and Ignatius McKetta, purchased the property in 1957. My dad was a farmer by nature. They've always tried to, he loved the land, I'll just say, he loved it, and I'm emotionally tied to it. My kids went to Pennridge, they're now currently in college. My mom died in 2007, she had ALS. We were living in Philly at the time and had to make a decision on what to do with the property and our property in Philly. Having lived in West Rockhill and living in West Rockhill, and loving the school district, it's such a good school district, we opted, even though the house was in disarray, we decided to come back to West Rockhill, and I'm glad that we did. My children graduated from Pennridge. They're currently in college. It was always a struggle for us growing up to pay the taxes. But my dad also worked at WRT while he farmed, worked full-time, and my mom worked in the cafeteria at Diebler Elementary for over 25 years. When we moved back, we made a lot of repair work on the house. The house was in disarray. My mom couldn't afford to make repairs. And as Ed spoke, we also worked to try to hold on to the barn. We have both tried to really honor my parents with what their plans were for the land. They always wanted to preserve the land. My mom put it in Act 319 when my dad, in order to try to keep living up here. She loved living up here. So we have really made an effort to keep it preserved, but also we need to sell some of it because it, quite frankly, costs a lot of money to pay the taxes up here. But we're grateful to be living here. So it has taken us 8 years to find a buyer. We've had several different proposals to sell some land. I have 2 children in college, and we are hoping that that would help pay for some of their college expenses. We were lucky enough to have Mr. Waite, who's interested in keeping it under the 319 Act, and he actually wants to do all he can to preserve the trees. It seems a little unusual to want to cut down 40 trees when we've worked so hard to keep it preserved. I'm just going to read a little bit of a letter my one son wrote. He was quite affected by it because his college education kind of depends on it. I'm just going to read a little bit of it and then I'll be done. It says, "To whom it may concern, I am writing this letter in attempt to appeal a request regarding the subdivision of my family's property. The request I am referring to is the current improvement plans for Bardsley Road. The current plan should not be used because it places an unreasonable financial burden on me and my family. Additionally, the road does not require the suggested tree removal outlined on the list of costs." He goes on to say various things. Given my family's combined yearly income, we have been unable to save enough money for me and my brother's college education throughout my childhood. However, once we inherited the property that we currently live on from my grandmother, college once again became an option for my family. We planned on selling the land that we are currently subdividing and using the majority of the money to pay for college. Before and throughout the entire subdivision process, my family had been anticipating receiving an amount from this land that would be sufficient to pay for college. However, with the proposed $65,000 improvements to Bardsley Road that my family will have to pay, our plan for paying for college would be impossible. It would place me and my family through terrible financial strain and may even make graduating not an option for me. My family simply does not earn the necessary income to pay for the proposed road improvements along with the college education for my brother and I. I'm just going to skip over and say, excuse me. I hope that you can understand my family's need to have the current road improvement plan appealed. The cost of the plan is falling entirely on my family at this time. My family's total income is not enough to cover the large price of the plan, given the fact that the divided land is going to be used to pay for me and my brother's college. Additionally, the plan proposes costly tree removal that is unnecessary for the improvement of the road. The deterioration issue can be solved simply by filling in the ditch without tree removal. Road improvements for subdivisions typically cost no more than $10,000. Therefore, for you to require my family to pay nearly 6.5 times this cost is unreasonable. Although there may have been some minor deterioration caused by runoff coming from the ground that is within my family's property, there is little to nothing that we could do to slow or stop this deterioration. Again, this makes the request for my family to pay $65,000 on improvements for this small road unreasonable. Even though my family and I are opposed to the current improvement plan, we are not entirely opposed to making improvements on Bardsley Road. An alternative plan was derived which proposed a cost of only about $12,000. Although this is still a significant cost for my family, I do not find it unreasonable. It will not place my family in an impossible financial state, as my family would still have enough money from the land being sold to pay for enough of our college education. It also does not include unnecessary improvements in its proposal. Again, I hope that you can understand my family's current difficult situation and that the current request for road improvements of Bardsley Road is unreasonable. I ask that you reconsider the alternative $12,000 improvement plan, as it would be the only one possible for my family to pay, and does not call for unnecessary improvements.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Okay, one more comment is that there are other dead-end roads, such as Daniel Road and Haples Road, that have received better maintenance than Bardsley Road in the township. So, and why should it be imposed upon us to maintain the road, whereas the township should be doing the maintenance of it?
Thank you for your comments. Steve, you've been working with us a lot, so I think we're going to need to take a lead from you on what we can do and what we can't do, so.
I'd suggest we table it
Yeah.
and have Steve look at it.
Can I ask a question? Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, go right ahead.
Can that property be future developed? There's no restriction or anything, right?
Not that I know of,
Not
not unless there's an
reserved.
easement. We don't have an
I mean,
easement.
you're looking at, what is it, 12 acre or 25 acres there?
The new lot is 25 acres.
The new lot is 25 acres, so that is possible that could be developed, and their houses could, or driveways could come off of that road.
Sure.
Under our zoning ordinance.
Under
it
our
could be-
zoning ordinance.
It could be further developed.
Okay. All right, that's all I wanted to ask.
I'd suggest we table it and we have some more closer look at what Steve has presented and what they presented. See if there's any possibility. I don't think we can commit to that. I would just propose we step back and take another look at it.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. You okay with that?
I make one comment
You
too?
got somebody in the back there.
Yeah.
John, Jay. Anyway, I'm Tim Wade.
Hey.
1416 Azalea Court. So, and when we look at that, cutting down all those trees, I'm gonna buy the property. I have no intention to subdivide that at all. That's not the intention at all, because I know it would be, you know, Mr. Gavin, I know Gavin is on here, but it's just a simple subdivision. And our understanding was that on a simple subdivision, we wouldn't be responsible for road repairs other than $7,000 in lieu of doing that. So when we did the plan, we spent the money, got all the plans were already approved. The only thing that's outstanding are the, this one issue with that. So that's on a $225,000 lot, that's just unreasonable on a road that we won't use, nor will we stick, the driveway's not gonna come off of Bardsley at all. We'll never even drive on that road. So, when you look at net for the township, if it doesn't go through and we don't do it, it's gonna be a loss for the McGanns, it's gonna be a loss on mine, it's gonna be a loss for the township from a tax revenue standpoint and for earned income tax and so on and so forth. And the present value of future cash flows would be a lot of dollars. So, and I don't know what improvements were supposed to be done there, but nobody's really done anything, I guess, forever. I mean, it took, 30 years for that thing to start to erode out, or I don't know how long that road's been there, but probably that long.
Longer than that.
Well, just a little longer than
So-
that. And nobody's done anything, to help mitigate that, which they probably could with stone being in there. 'Cause it's
So we will table this and we'll have more discussion.
Okay, but anyway, that's just, it's not gonna be a multiple subdivision, which somebody
Okay.
referred to, that's not the
But
objective.
it could be.
Yeah, could be.
It could be. I mean,
It could
that's,
be.
you
I
said,
guess if I would sell it, yeah. so-
Yeah,
Well,
you said
that's
you-
why I asked the.
yeah, you
the
said you
ordinance.
have no intention of putting more lots, but I see 25 acres, which probably.
Road changes.
How many lots? I mean,
12 at least.
10 or 12 or 15.
Yeah, but then you would have to do all the road, somebody would have to improve the whole, because it's got road frontage, it's a ton of roads frontage of Bardsley and,
Right.
so, I mean, yeah, at that point, if you did, then somebody would have to pay to do all that, absolutely.
right. But that's always the issue when someone comes in and says, I'm only gonna put one house on this. I don't wanna do any road.
But I would have to get it, if I would do that, I would have to get it all improved, right? And you'd have to go through this whole
Right.
process again, correct? It's not like I could just say, hey, by the way, I'm gonna put.
But you gotta
6,000.
start the conversation now. You're the first guy that wants to put a house in there. So the road improvements and how that gets done, looking long-term. The next person could come in and say, oh, I wanna put one house on this lot.
There are 12
Why should I do $65,000 worth of road work? I mean, I've seen it. So, you know, and it gets piecemealed in and then nothing happens. So that's, I think the board's gonna have that discussion, right? And-
Yeah.
And then
And all of a sudden we have 12.
reconsider it, but that's always the issue. Everybody like you comes in and says, I don't wanna do this. Now I'm only doing one lot. But if you go 10 years from now, someone else is gonna come in and say the same thing. You all might not be here, you
It
know,
could be-
so.
I think be restricted too, if it had to be. I mean, I had no intention
It's the magic way.
We'll take another look at it.
Yeah.
All right, very
Okay.
good, thank
All right,
you, Jay.
we'll table it for now. Thank you.
Very good,
For your
thanks.
comments. Okay. Mr. Fox. Mr. Fox, yes.
Yeah, can I make a comment on this now, or do I need to wait till the end for comment?
You got the vote?
Let's just do it, okay?
Okay, I live on Bardsley Road,
Yeah.
and this whole thing is developed into a safety problem. I've talked to the fire departments, and the fire departments could not bring their big equipment. If my house was burning, or one of my neighbors' houses were burning, the fire department could not come in with one of their big trucks. There's not enough road frontage, there's not enough road width. So that's my main concern.
Okay.
And that's why I talked to Jay. And they did come out and dig the ditch out, which has helped. But the main problem is the deterioration of the road. It keeps getting narrower, you know, because the end keeps breaking off. And there's no easy solution, which you gentlemen know.
Right,
You know, so, and just a correction, there are 5 houses on that road.
Okay.
5
We'll
houses.
take
5.
that into consideration along with
Yeah.
the other stuff too.
Okay, I just wanted to mention the safety problem, which,
Yeah, understood.
you know.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Okay. All right, thanks, everyone.
That's all I have for
That's
now.
it? Okay. All right, we get a motion to approve the manager's report.
I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Old business? Any old business, gentlemen?
I have none.
No. Okay, new business? I have a piece of new business, just so everyone's aware, Get Fit with the Doc returns April 5th, so come on out and join us. It's 4th year, I think, Bob? 4th year.
4 years,
Yeah.
yes.
And it's grown every year, so come on out to James Memorial Park. There's gonna be a health fair starting at 5 o'clock, followed by our walk.
I do want to announce, I am still waiting to hear back from the second call of Representative Stats on regarding Cat Hill Road, on the state roads. So I know things have been busy with the storms and stuff. When I do something next month, I'll try and give a report on the condition of Cat Hill Road.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. Any other new business? Okay, public comment. Any public comment on the meeting? Yes.
Frank Shivender, 1030 Allentown Road. These last couple of storms that we've had, snow and the rain, it's freezing rain at night, overnight. North and south of the bridge there at the Butter Creek,
Yeah.
the water's just coming right across. Now, I know that's a PennDOT road,
Yeah.
but I think the problem is coming from the residents. If there's leaves in those areas and they're not cleaning them out and the water's coming, is that a PennDOT problem or is that?
The right-of-way is the PennDOT problem issue, and I will tell you, Frank, I've had numerous conversations. We have an issue in that area up there with the PennDOT crew that normally does it. They've been lacking of Finland Road, Allentown Road and, what's the other one up there? No, it's a state road.
Oh, the state road, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyhow, there's, he said, she said, they said somebody called out and they didn't replace the crew, so it didn't get taken care of. And then the next phone conversation, the lady says, well, they do the big roads first and they do that, they're secondary. And I said, no, that's not the way it's been done. Those roads have always been taken care of in the past. This is the first year we're having this issue with the roads being plowed up there that are state
Well,
operated.
this wasn't that much with the plowing, even on a big rainstorm.
But they don't clean the ditches. See, that's one of the
Yeah.
issues. I've been trying to get them to give me a maintenance schedule for swale work, ditch and swale work. They tell me they only have 2 grade-alls in the whole entire county. So now I did see a grade-all sitting up here at this Quonset hut the other night, Tuesday night, last night it was. I don't know where they're using it, if they are using it at all. But we've been trying hard to get them to produce a maintenance schedule so that we can relay to the residents
But
what they're
Frank,
doing.
Yeah.
is it the pipes are clogged? On Allentown Road, coming down Allentown Road, that the driveway pipes are all clogged?
I would say yes. And it's-
I think that's the issue.
Okay.
Everyone's all the leaves come down,
Yeah.
clog the driveway pipes.
Well, if
and then
that's
it
the
goes out on
case,
road.
if that's the case, maybe you can write a letter to the property owners.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's technically a PennDOT problem, you know?
It is, they have to enforce their right of way.
Oh,
I could
okay.
write a letter to them.
Or
But
write
I'm
a
not
letter,
gonna-
why don't you first go through the email trail to PennDOT,
Okay.
identifying a concern of a neighbor, resident,
Okay.
okay? Because it is their road.
Yeah. You know how critical I've been about PennDOT over the years. The only thing I gotta say, there's that tree in my neighbor's property. I guess it's probably about 150, maybe higher than that, about 25 inches round. It is tilting. And it's
Towards the road. I see
Yeah,
that
it's
tree.
tilting more and more towards my daughter's property. And I called up and I spoke to a young lady there, told her what the issue was. And they were out there within 3 days now. She came out, looked at the tree, took measurements and everything. And she was gonna try to have somebody come out maybe in April, I hope, to take a look and see what they could do with that tree. Now, that tree could stand maybe for another 50 years, but you could definitely see the tilt in it
Right.
is really moving.
One storm away.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. Any other comments, public comment? Yes, Jerry.
Jerry Gretzi, Telford Fire Company. I'd like to present to you for your consideration, I'm sure Greg's aware and the solicitor's aware of Pennsylvania Act 172, and our state representatives in their infinite wisdom, instead of handling it at the state level, they passed it back to the municipalities. And basically what it is the possibility of a tax credit as a volunteer. But you have to, each fire company has to have a point system to denote who is an active firefighter and who is just
What's the number of that act?
172. I got a copy of it for you.
Okay.
And what I'm here to do tonight is to present you with what Telford has come up with. Our chief developed this point system based on Act 172. It was tweaked by our executive board and accepted by our membership. Each fire company's got to do their own, but I would suggest that this is a good one.
Okay, thank you. I know we discussed this back when we had our annual fire company meeting with all you guys in the township building. We talked about the point systems and how they were all different. We were trying to figure out how we could pull them together so we could have a standard rating and determine. So this could be a good help.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Yes.
David Conley with Barn Road. I'd like this board, the West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors, to consider getting a lectern like that for our meeting room. Because I think it'd be just really a nice thing to have for people who are making presentations.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
in addition to fixing the audio system as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Don't get carried away.
All right. Are there any other public comments?
Contributions are welcome.
Yes, I was going to say, that was my next one. All right, well, thank you. No more public comment. Move for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And all in favor?
All right.
All right, thank you all for coming out. We will adjourn now to executive session.